Hello, it's Midweek Online time again, and my name's Peter Huxtable, the vicar of Stapleford Church here, St Helens and St Luke's and Montrose Court. It's great to welcome you along for this midweek time of reflection and worship. We're following through still our Tuesday services that we had this week, and it featured Susan Bell who's speaking and reading for us, and you'll also see Fran Bedell in the background who led the service. Well, in a moment we're going to hear the next instalment of Nehemiah, and this time it's about opposition to the building of the walls that they were doing in Jerusalem. And you'll also, during the course of the talk, you might hear a little bit of beeping, and it's not your washing machine or a phone or anything in the house. It's Fred's buggy, but just ignore, I think Fred was doing a bit of reversing during the talk, but you'll hear the talk loud and clear. So after we've heard Susan have the reading, we're going to have a song in response to that, Father, I place into your hands, and then into the talk. I hope you enjoy it and you find something really beneficial to encourage you in your Christian walk this week. See you later.
So today's reading is from Nehemiah chapter 4. When Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he became angry and was greatly incensed. He ridiculed the Jews, and in the presence of his associates and the army of Samaria, he said, "What are those feeble Jews doing? Will they restore their wall? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they finish in a day? Can they bring the stones back to life from those heaps of rubble, burnt as they are?" Tobiah the Ammonite, who was at his side, said, "What they are building, even a fox climbing on it would break down their wall of stones." Hear us, O God, for we are despised. Turn their insults back on their own heads. Give them over as plunder in a land of captivity. Do not cover up their guilt or blot out their sins from your sight, for they have thrown insults in the face of the builders. So we rebuilt the wall till all of it reached half its height, for the people worked with all their heart. But when Sanballat, Tobiah, the Arabs, the Ammonites, and the people of Ashdod heard that the repairs to Jerusalem's walls had gone ahead and that the gaps were being closed, they were very angry. They all plotted together to come and fight against Jerusalem and stir up trouble against it. But we prayed to our God and posted a guard day and night to meet this threat. Meanwhile, the people in Judah said, "The strength of the labourers is giving out, and there is so much rubble that we cannot rebuild the wall." Also, our enemies said, "Before they know it or see us, we will be right there among them and will kill them and put an end to the work." Then the Jews who lived near them came and told us 10 times over, "Wherever you turn, they will attack us." Therefore I stationed some of the people behind the lowest points of the wall at the exposed places, posting them by families with their swords, spears, and bows. After I looked things over, I stood up and said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, "Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your families, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your homes." When our enemies heard that we were aware of their plot and that God had frustrated it, we all returned to the wall, each to our work. From that day on, half of my men did the work, while the other half were equipped with spears, shields, bows, and armour. The officers posted themselves behind all the people of Judah who were building the wall. Those who carried materials did their work with one hand and held a weapon in the other, and each of the builders wore his sword at his side as he worked. But the man who sounded the trumpet stayed with me. Then I said to the nobles, the officials and the rest of the people, "The work is extensive and spread out, and we are widely separated from each other all along the wall. Wherever you hear the sound of the trumpet, join us there. Our God will fight for us." So we continued the work, with half the men holding spears, from the first light of dawn till the stars came out. At that time I also said to the people, "Let every man and his helper stay inside Jerusalem at night, so that they can serve us as guards by night, and as workers by day. Neither I, nor my brothers, nor my men, nor the guards with me took off our clothes. Each had his weapon, even when he went for water." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be.
Father, I place into your hands the things that I can't do. Father, I place into your hands the things that I've been through. Father, I place into your hands the way that I should go. For I know I can always trust in you, and I am one with you. Father, I place into your hands my friends and family. Father, I place into your hands the things that trouble me. Father, I place into your hands the person I would be. For I know I can always trust in you, and I am one with you. Father, we love to see your face. We love to hear your voice. Father, we love to sing your praise, and in your name rejoice. Father, we love to walk with you, and in your presence rest. And we know we can always trust in you, and we are one with you. Father, I want to be with you and do the things you do. Father, I want to speak the words that you are speaking to. Father, I want to love the ones that you will draw to you.
pray before I speak. Lord, we thank you for the gift of this word to us. As we think on it, open our hearts and minds to hear your word to us today. Amen. Now, I don't know if you've been following the story of Nehemiah. He's taken on a huge challenge, hasn't he, rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. But so far, things have been going well. He had to go to the emperor to ask permission to come and do this work, but the emperor listened and supported him in the project. And when he arrived in Jerusalem, the people were motivated. They divided the work out between them and they committed time to the project. So it's been going well, hasn't it? But now we reach another hurdle. The people already living in the land are angry about the plans to rebuild the wall. And we know even today what difficulties walls built to separate people can cause, don't we? These people, led by Sanballat and Tobias, taunted Nehemiah and the returned exiles. They picked on their weaknesses and poked fun at them. They pointed out the state of the rubble left from the wall destroyed years ago. They pointed out how likely they were to fail. These people aren't builders, they're goldsmiths, merchants, perfume makers, priests and rulers. There's no Bob the Builder fixing things here. What did they know about building walls? Now, words are powerful, aren't they? Words are powerful for both good and ill. What others say, or what we think they might say, can get to us, can't it? It can discourage us. It can stop us moving forward. It may be things said years ago that stick in our minds, or it may be things said recently. And it's those things with some truth in them that can be the hardest to shake. It may leave us feeling we are not the sort of people who can build God's kingdom. And indeed, these discouraging taunts make their mark on the builders. The Message version of what the people say is very descriptive. It says, the builders are pooped, the rubbish piles up, we're in over our heads, we can't build this wall. And I guess we can all feel like this sometimes, particularly at the moment. We may find we've just had enough of the way things are. Sharing our troubles can help, but it can also drag us down if we're not careful. Sharing them with God is always a good thing. So back to Nehemiah. The opposition strengthens. They step up their plans and plot violent attacks. They say they won't know what hit them. Before they know it, we'll be at their throats, killing them right and left. That will put a stop to their work. They think they're winning. But Nehemiah isn't cowed. He must have been an amazing leader, mustn't he? He does what he's done before. He prays to God for help and remembers that the Lord is greater than their enemies. This is a good place to start, isn't it? Whatever we're facing, bringing it to God, recognising who he is, placing our discouragements into his hands is the way forward. And what does God do in response to this? Well, he doesn't, in an amazing miracle, have angels build the wall overnight and they wake up in the morning to find it done. They might have liked that to happen, but that isn't it. He doesn't take their problems away. He doesn't take their enemies away. No, God's miracle is in the people's lives. Firstly, in their commitment, because their heart is in this, isn't it? We've seen that. They're discouraged, but they keep going. They're always prepared. They don't ever even take off their clothes or leave their weapons so that they can rebuff an attack, whether it's at day or night. Even amongst the local people there is support, as the informer network lets Nehemiah know what his enemies are planning. So firstly, their commitment. And secondly, it's their organised approach to their defence that lets them both defend themselves and continue with the work. They don't just put the work to one side, they find a way to carry on with it. Now, Nehemiah was a good leader, wasn't he, for the time? He had a logical approach to solving the problems in front of him. And God's answer to his prayers can be seen in his skillful management of the situation, in his inspiring leadership. Nehemiah is part of the answer to his prayer. Now, I don't know how you feel about building God's kingdom. For Nehemiah, it meant restoring Jerusalem. But for us, God lives in us, doesn't he? And it's through us that his kingdom comes to the people around us. It's still a daunting task. And we too face discouragement and obstacles, and we may want God to take them away. I want to go back to the earlier part we were saying about the power of words that have been said against us, because they can be very damaging. They can get into our heads so that it's hard to see past them. They hold us back from all that God sees that we can be. If that's an issue for you, then bring those thoughts to God, for he loves us and wants the best for us. He forgives our weaknesses and our failings and wants us to be free to live for him. It may be that we need help to sort this out. It may be a good friend who can see something of the best we can be and help us to see it too. It may be someone we trust who can pray with us. Or we may need professional help. Whatever, it is worth tackling. And start with prayer and see where it leads. So building God's kingdom is a task for us ordinary people, whatever our strengths and weaknesses. It's God's miracle that happens in our ordinary everyday lives. And Nehemiah encourages us to keep going, to let God do the miracle of building his kingdom with us. So short prayer just to finish this talk. I know that when the stress has grown too strong, you will be there. I know that when the waiting seems so long, you hear my prayer. I know that through the crash of falling worlds, you're holding me. I know that life and death are yours eternally. Amen.